Okay, thank you very much. Thank you much, everybody. Welcome. First of all, everybody who joins, thank you for making your time available to join this last session. It's webinar number 3 from the Microsoft Hoster Bootcamp sessions, with already 2, and this is the last one. It would be a very interesting one. Before I continue, I would like to say again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. At the end of the session, we have time available to answer the questions, to come up with more questions. So put them in the chat so everybody can see it and we don't forget it. My recommendation is make notes during the session. Although you get the slides, you get the information, it's always good to make your notes for yourself. So you take out of it what's important for you. I know from experience, if you make notes, you remember it better. It you absorbs in your brain, and it stays there for almost forever. Okay, so today number 3, forming marketing campaigns and TCO evaluation. Briefly again, we're from 4Place. We are an independent consultancy advisory party, and we're asked by Microsoft and Arrow to support you, and we actually make presentations and packs and webinars from insight to execution. So we always base our presentation on data, really to help you as partner to enable the sales acceleration and the go-to-market transformation. So my name is Edwin Rubens. I'm a senior consultant with 4Place, and I'm happy to present today for you. What I said in the previous one, it's an enablement program dedicated to develop your SPLA business and using your own experience, the experience of Microsoft, experience of your distributor, and the experience of 4Place. So we're going to share everything we know. So today is actually number 3. Number 1 was assess your opportunity. Number 2 was about the qualification. With tools and scenarios. And today is about execution your Azure campaigns. So how calculate the TCO and the infrastructure, how to run your campaigns. So it's more on the execution side of this whole story. The major challenge is very often in operations, in marketing, in sales. So we're gonna discuss that and see how you can align all your departments to make a very good campaign for Azure. So in detail, the first one, we were where to play, how to win. The second about where you're going to focus on, what are the solutions, what are the tools you need. We discussed the benchmark. So if you haven't done the readiness benchmark score yet, it's still available. So you have your own score and you can compare it with the 500 resellers and partners in Europe. So you can see where you are compared with the average or the best ones. And of course, we just discussed the mindset, skill set, and tool set in the first webinar. The second one was about the customer journey and your offer, and the 3 steps: core, growth, transformation, solutions towards your end user, towards your customer, and the BAND methodology to assess the right opportunity and to qualify the right opportunity. So, and today it's about the 5 steps for a successful campaign. The operational considerations, and gonna explain that, and how to start, and we're going to give you tools to succeed with this whole program and with the whole approach. And again, it's about how are you going to differentiate in a high competitive cloud and managed service world, because you're not the only one. There are more than 1,000 partners, 100,000 partners in the world who's selling cloud services from small to big. So the objective is migration versus transformation, and how you're going to differentiate. It's a business model compared with the data center or the hybrid solutions. So today, what? Running a marketing campaign. So how are you going to do that, and what's important to make sure that you have a very successful campaign? The approach you're going to use is a sure-step campaign execution. It's especially developed for Microsoft partners. So it's 5 steps. You need 30 days to prepare the campaign before the launch, and you need 30 days to run the campaign. So the journey to growth, actually. So it's a 5-step model. For the first one is explain the profitability and opportunity you have. So where you want to play, so how to win. So where you want to play, so what are you going to offer to your end user? What do they need? And here again, it's a mindset, the skill set, and a tool set. So which part are you going to use in the preparation before you launch your campaign? And what are the profitable key success factors? So make sure that before you do a campaign that you have those 3 topics very clear. Put it on paper so everybody knows is where to play, how you're going to win, the mindset, skill set, tool set approach, and what are the profitable key success factors. Then you ensure the readiness. And I put here more departments, and that's interesting about the reselling approach. You are in the middle of everything. So to have a successful campaign, you need sales, you need marketing, and you need operations. Sales today are ready to do the sale, marketing, that everything is ready to do the launch and to do the marketing campaign, and operations, so they at the back office that everything is ready to absorb to run the campaign and to also absorb the feedback you get from the market. Then you launch a value proposition. So you did a preparation and you're going to launch. Launch the concrete the value market fit. So it comes again here to the core growth transformation, where you want to play, how to play, where to play and how to win. So you make exactly sure what is your value market fit. So then you know exactly where to focus on which prospects, on which market segments, on which companies. So you're sure they have the right fit. It's consumption driven because you want to go into a cloud model, more recurring business on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis. So everything must be consumption driven. And you make sure that the launch readiness is done. So that the step number 1 and number 2 are completely done, aligned, written down, that everybody knows exactly what to do. So then you launch your campaign. And then you get the first sales. And then you get the customer success. And interesting part here is use that customer success. Make a reference story, make a white paper, make a best practice out of it, and show to the world, to your potential customers, to your prospects, that you have a success story. Because why should they choose you? If you have a proven track record, then they know exactly what you're capable of. So use the first customer success story. Use the consumption metrics, so you know exactly how you're going to measure it. And here's the bowling alley. It's as a funnel. So a lot of prospects come in and you make the steps toward the sales. So it narrows down to the right sales and the right opportunity. And then accelerate sales with marketing. So you're partnering for success. So you partner with customers, you partner with other partners, you pay them, you own, and you earn. So, and retargeting. So you have done a marketing campaign, you evaluate and say, okay, guys, this was successful. Should we target the same group? Should we target a new group? And do the whole exercise over again. So if you do it in the right way, you're capable of doing it in 30 days preparation and 30 days the journey to growth, and then repeat it again. So then you keep visible in the market. So it's important that we look at the opportunity and the profitability. We discussed it before, and it happens the same when we consider to launch a marketing campaign. Since the essential goal of marketing is to reach a number of targets and to start a selling journey. So also here, you actually the same as with qualifying an opportunity. So the band approach we discussed in webinar number 2 comes back here. So why? First, why are you going to launch it? What do your customer need? Is their budget? Is their authority? And is the timing correct? how to ensure that the sales lead can be qualified as a true opportunity. That's actually the question. So salesmen are used to ask questions to customers in order to determine if they truly have a budget, if you have the authority to decide to spend this budget, and is it the right time to approach it. The band methodology we discussed before. So the salespeople are going to go after the opportunity that comes out of the marketing campaign. So hot leads, and then they qualify. To prevent that all the leads that comes out of the campaign are qualified as 100% opportunity. So they have to go after this. So this is a pure alignment with the salespeople. So what it takes to have a campaign profitable. This is in the 4-step. You look at first, understand the campaign profitability, the target and reach. So what is the target? How broad in the market are you going to approach this? What's the value? And what are the values you have inside your organization and you're going to propose to your customers? Understand MQL and SQL. So marketing qualified lead and sales qualified lead. So what is a marketing lead? And what is a sales lead? And what is an opportunity? So how to qualify an opportunity? This is why you pay attention to a number of concepts in these steps. So make sure that you are 100% agreed internally on what is a marketing lead. Is it just somebody you talked on the phone and say, oh, it looks like it looks interesting? Or is it really based on, is the right size of the company? Did you talk to the right person? Did they mention that they are in a timing to do this before you give it to sales? So the band methodology comes back here, both to marketing and to sales. And make sure that you agree on what is an opportunity. Because we know from experience that a lot of salespeople say, yeah, but it's a very important customer and it is big, blah, 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 blah. Make sure that you run also with them to the band approach. Then step number 3 for the campaign, the traffic and audience metrics. So you launch a campaign. What's the traffic you're generating? How much clicks on your website, for example? How long do they stay on your website? What's the reply? Did they leave their email address? Did they download white papers? And what's the conversion? So if you, for example, have 100 reactions, how many prospects go to the next phase, are qualified? So what's the conversion metrics? And what's the conversion from a lead, a qualified lead, into the revenue? So at the end, if you have, for example, 1,000 leads from a marketing perspective, you end up with 30 possible for a sales lead with the band methodology. And at the end, maybe 3 or 4 buy and then generate revenue. So then you know that the metrics is 3 out of 100 is a revenue metrics. So if you know this, you can look at it, how you can improve this. The higher the metrics, the better it is, of course. If the conversion ratio is higher, you spend less time on non-qualified leads. And then step number 4, define the campaign, objectives and the key results. So what you want to accomplish. So make sure that you internally aligned on the objectives. The strategic objectives, do you want to, for example, is the new area and new services, is strategic, and what are the campaign performances? When do we have a successful campaign? If we do 1 sale, if we do 10K revenue, if we do 100K, 20 customers, how many leads? So make sure that you have the objectives and the key results very clear for everybody. Then you have never a discussion afterwards that it was not up to the expectations. So what makes it profitable? To make sure that you understand it, understand the marketing leads, define the metrics, and define the campaign objectives and key results. Because then you know whether you have the right KPIs, key performance indicators, to make a successful and profitable campaign. Then step number 2 was to ensure readiness. So once you have prepared yourself and your company with a proper plan to launch a campaign and get a profit out of it, there are still a couple of aspects you need to pay attention to. First of all, you need to ensure that your entire company is ready to face a positive outcome of the campaign. Leads will arise and potential customers will emerge from audience you decided to target. So is everybody ready? So here is ensure the readiness. And here it comes back the methodology we used before. And that's so interesting why we have 3 webinars, because you see that the approach and the methodology we use comes back also with a successful campaign. So are we ready? This is what I said, is the whole company ready? It's not only sales, it's not only marketing, but it's a technical readiness. Are we able to deliver? Is the marketing ready? Are we able to deliver the marketing campaign? Is sales ready? Do they have time? Do they know how to approach, how to qualify? And is operational ready? If we get leads in, if we get new customers, new contracts, new services, new data center or new cloud solutions, are the operational side also ready? And for all those 4 dimensions, the readiness is made of the mindset, the skill set, and the tool set. So is everybody in the right mindset for a technical approach? Oh, we can't do it. It's not possible. It's so difficult. Or we have the new services. This is great. We are ready for it. From a technical perspective, the skill set. Which skills are needed? Do we have the skills available within the organization from a technical perspective? And the tool set. Do we have the management tools to manage a technical approach? And the same is for marketing. Do we have the mindset? This will be a successful campaign because this is unique. This is an innovative campaign. This is different from the rest. Or is it, oh, we do the rest the same as always and it won't be a success because we did it again. So it's the mindset. So make a positive mindset, a growth mindset that we overcome the obstacles and make it possible. And do we have the skills available within the marketing department, but also the tools? Do we have the right tool to run the marketing campaign online, for example? Do we have an automated feedback system? Do we have management tools available to measure it? And the same is for sales and for operations. So make sure that everybody is ready. So this readiness approach is very important, that all the 4 areas, dimensions are ready, and it all run through the discussion on mindsets, skill set, and tool set. And if you make this visible, you put it down on paper, make it very concrete, first per dimension, but then also with 4 dimensions together to really create a successful campaign and everybody's ready. And maybe you have to ask the question, what is readiness? And I'll give you here examples. So number 1, for example, is managing sales leads. So what they do, get in touch with customers, follow up on marketing actions. So the sales must be ready. So if there's a marketing action, they must make time available to go after the leads and understand the customer view. So the band approach comes in here. Second one is understand the job to be done. And you recognize this from the first webinar where we explained this. So what are their needs? So analyze customers' needs. Analyze the market trend. What do they need? What understand what's necessary to the job to be done. And understand Microsoft's vision on the local markets. Sometimes the vision on the Belgian market is different from the Dutch market, from the German market. So make sure that you understand. So you understand from a partner perspective. So you can help the customer, but also that the customer has their view what's going on in the market. And then the band approach, like I said. Does the customer have a budget? Does the contact you have there from a marketing or sales perspective the authority to decide? Does the customer understand his needs? And does the customer have a specific timeline as a target? So again, this come back, and this is so actually simple, but so funny how often this goes wrong from a sales perspective. And then starting the conversation. So how are you going to approach the topic? And are you able with the core growth transformational approach, that you can start a journey discussion with the customer. What do they need? They need security, peace of mind. So the steps we discussed last time with the 3 steps, and bring them into their journey, a journey as a result of the marketing campaign. And using the sales tools, provide effective information, assess customer situation, and provide recommendations. So use the tools, whether it's Salesforce, Microsoft Solutions, data out of the market, intelligent data. Use it and use it to sales tools that are available to make sure that you approach the right customer. And then manage your objections. So what is if there comes an objection from the customer, what is the purpose of this objection and what is the cause of the objection? And where am I failing? Or how to react? Because very often an obstacle or an objection can be a big chance, because if you know what you're able to offer and you know what's available in Azure with Microsoft, you are able to come with solution that will take away their objection. So in this case, you are ready. The sales is ready to make sure that they do the right steps and the right conversations and the right topic with the customer. And then launch your value proposition. Sorry. That's step number 3. So test your market fit. So is it the transformation? Consultancy services. Very often it's sold on a man-to-man basis. A precise agreement between the customer and the provider who acts and reaction on demand. So is that what you're going to offer? Is that what they need? Is that what you want to offer? Or is the managed services more proactive, sold in exchange of monthly fee? So there comes a recurring business. Or do you offer the service and the value as a package offer, an intellectual property solution for a specific market, specific segment, and where you are unique as a partner? So here comes again how you're going to differentiate in a very competitive cloud market. So test this value. Test this value market fit. What you're offering, is that also what the market needs and what your customer needs? If they really want to have an hourly services and they pay by the hour, it's fine. But very often you see that they more need added value business solutions. So a package offering very often is the best solution where you differentiate. And what I've shown before, and I'm going to show you again, the higher you're in the chain of this value, the higher your revenue and the higher your margin. So think about this and test it before. So putting a marketing campaign and a value and a proposition in the market that doesn't fit is a waste of time, waste of money. So test it, find your unique customer, and prepare for it. And then, are you ready to launch? So step number 3 is still, is it desirable? Is it feasible? Is it profitable? So do my customer need it? Do I have the right capabilities? Or how will I make money? So again, use this as a checklist for your whole campaign, for the whole sales approach, for the whole value proposition. Because at the end, you are there to help customers, but also to make money for your own organization. And then close the first sale. That's very important. And this is a very interesting market or sales approach I really love. Together with my partner, Pierre, we did it already many times and we presented it already many times to salespeople. What you see very often is that the buying process and the selling process is not aligned. So there's a buyer, your customer, and there's a supplier, yourself, your organization. So at the right, you see that's a purchase process and a sales process. And you see all those arrows and all those boxes. And there are actually 5 steps. So from a buyer perspective, they need their recognition that, hold on, I have a problem, I have a need. And they are in the process, then the next step in info gathering and processing the whole information. And then they're going to look at the identify and evaluate the opportunities, alternatives in the market. They're going to make a purchase decision and a post-purchase purchase experience. And from a sales perspective, you generate a lead. So that's the campaign, first step. The second step, you build a relationship, maybe on first touch, to get to know each other. It's like a visual relation. You're not going to marry on a first date. You're going to have a first date, get to know each other, then again, maybe have a dinner, and then you go together out and live together, and then at the end, you're going to marry. It's the same as a sales process. So you need to build the relation with your customer. It's the first campaign, then the first contact, then maybe a presentation, then maybe sit together and discuss. Then they visit your organization or they join you to Microsoft. So it's a whole process. And then you present the solution and resolve their concerns. Then step number 4 from the sales page, you close the sale and maintain the engagement. Don't step away, because especially in a market where the differentiation on service is difficult and it's a very competitive market, it's very often how you're going to handle afterwards, after the sale. Are you going to solve the issues? Are you there if there are problems? So it's their experience. Even if the service is not that good, but their experience at the end is very good, they're happy. And I show you those 2 lines, 2 arrows, because it's very important that those boxes are aligned from top to bottom. So that means if the buyer is in step number 2, box number 2, and you already tried to close the deal from a sales perspective in number 4, you are not aligned. You are ahead of him. So also here, if you are in conversation with the customer, make sure that you know where they are in their process and align your sales process on the buying process. Because if you aligned and you do it synchronized, you will see that you're going to win the deal. Because if they feel you're going to close the deal, but they are still in information gathering and you don't listen to them, you lose them. So, and also here, you don't spend time on making, for example, a proposal if the customer doesn't know his needs. So here are the steps together with the band. So first the band from the sales perspective, and then those steps to make sure that you're 100% aligned. And we have a very broad workshop on how you're gonna align this. What are the questions to ask to make sure that you are from step number 1 to step number 2. This is not part of this webinar, but it's very interesting because we see that we can improve the sales. You can be better aligned with your customer, understand each other better, and close deals. The conversion ratio is also higher. And then step number 5 in the whole process is accelerate your sales with the marketing. And here comes the bowling alley or the sales funnel. You get a lot of unqualified prospects. You get qualified prospects and the end leads. So if you look at the left side, the top of the funnel, TOF, you need to provide awareness of the problem as well as a solution to most common pain points. So there it's very generic for your target audience. And in the middle, there you need to create trust about your company and that they get deeper interest in your organization, in the solution. And here it comes again back to the alignment of the sales process and the purchasing process or the buying process. And at the bottom of the funnel, at the end, you need to provide a reason to buy the solution from you in the time frame. So then the band comes back again. So you really have a qualified lead at the end, and that will lead to euros or dollars or recurring business on a monthly basis. That's actually what you want on a yearly basis. And all those phases in the sales funnel have also a different content mix. So here, and that's the reason why you get those slides, because you can look into this, because these are examples. From a marketing perspective, for example, the awareness stage is different from the evaluation stage or from the purchasing stage. But in each stage, you have a very important role from a marketing perspective. For example, here in awareness is just a blog posts. For example, that they get to know you. You email newsletters. You're introducing a white paper. That's all free. So it's the first touch, the first get to know each other. There are a lot of things that are possible. The how-to video works very, very good, because a video is always much better than a picture or a text. And then in the second phase, if the customer is in an evaluation stage, you can provide white papers really on the solution. Or if it's a product specification sheet. Or when it helps, and it's a reference sale, that you have a case study or a reference company where you can show what you did, how you did it, and that you get trust with your customer, with your potential customer. And then in the purchase phase, for example, consultation, or they get a live demo in your office, or they get a free trial. So it's a mixture from marketing, sales, operations, technical. So make sure that you all together are aligned on what you're going to do in each stage, on the awareness stage, on the evaluation stage, and on the purchase stage. So here you see, to run a successful campaign, the alignment with the other departments, other parts of your organization is very important. But here are a lot of ideas. You don't have to do them all. Depends on the size of your company, number of resources you have available, internal or outside. The content is fundamental to facilitate the journey. So that's actually column number 1. Then Microsoft provide content and guidance at the campaign level. So use that. Use the content that's available. Okay, maybe you're not differentiating there, but at least the content is good. And if you are not able to do it yourself, you don't have the resources available, or not have the knowledge, or don't have the skills, or you don't have the tools, here it comes again, select agencies outside your organization that help you to execute on those campaigns, on those specific topics, on a case study, on a video, whatever. So don't try to do it all yourself, but use the resources that are available outside your organization, whether with your distributor, with Microsoft, or with agencies, to support you in this whole journey. So I elaborate the last half hour on the 5 steps, on the profitability, the readiness, the launch of the value proposition, the close a sale, and accelerate your sale. So those 5 steps are described. Take the slides, share them with each other, look at it, and run through the steps to make sure that you have a very successful marketing campaign. But what are the tools to succeed? What are the metrics that you look at? Because this is the campaign, but at the end you want to measure. What you see here in it's a survey that, or a research, that companies that can demonstrate sales of recurring revenue in a SaaS model have twice the valuation of companies that don't. So if you're able to provide a solution, a value campaign that's focusing on a SaaS model, at the end your company becomes twice as much worth and the value than the companies that don't, that just do the sale, just the transactional sales. So that's very important. That's the reason why I say look at a recurring business model. Look at recurring businesses if you target potential customers, and look at the solution you want to offer. So here you see the core growth transformational part. You see the left, you look at the cloud consumption, so the reach, so how many accounts consume cloud service from you. Is that a metric you want to know? And your cloud consumption. So you look at the ARPA, average revenue per account. So if you have 10 accounts and they'll each 10K a month, that's great. Or do you have 100 accounts and they do each 500K? So, or 5K. So look at those matrices and you know how many accounts consume at all and what is each consumption per account. So those metrics are very important because if you plot that in core, growth, and transformational, you know exactly how many customers are in the core side, how many customers are in the growth and transformational, what they consume, and what their average revenue per account. Traditional matrices are backwards looking. They look at the sales revenue, they deduct the cost of goods that are sold, you got the gross income, you deduct the SG&A, so that's selling, general, and administrative expenses, minus R&D, and you have a net income. That's a very traditional way of thinking. So you have the revenue, you cost, all the expenses, selling and administration expenses, and you have a net income. But the cloud journey is different because you are looking forward instead of looking backwards. So here you have ARR, annual recurring revenue, at the start. Minus, so you know what you have because you're looking forward. Minus, because maybe you lose accounts. That always happens. But you also add accounts. So you have the annual recurring revenue minus the churn, so the customers you lose, plus the ACV, annual contract value, so the yearly contract value you add, and you have a projected ARR for the next period. Minus the cost of serving it on an annual basis, and you have the recurring net income. So here is more from forward looking. So you have the annual recurring revenue minus what you lose plus what you add and you have projected minus the cost of the recurring business and you have the net recurring income. So this is a very different approach, and you will see that align this with finance is very important because it's a different approach, and that's the reason why everybody must be aligned on the approach. From an operational approach, it's also different. At the end, subscription business grows the business by 5 times. But in the beginning, the revenue per month is low because you are used to sell 100, one order, that's it. And now it's not 100, but it's three a month, but then for 36 months, for example. So it's a different approach. So also from operational perspective, you have a different approach. Then you have sales compensation, and I have some suggestions. Very often, salespeople are measured on their revenue. That's it. Or revenue and margin. But now you can have an accelerator on new contract value, so new ACV, annual contract value. Or you measure them on accounts breadth. So how many customers, how many new customers, or the depth. What are they buying? Are they just buying the backup services, but also security, workspace, peace of mind, data solutions? So change your sales compensation because I can tell you, if I see the sales compensation metric, I can predict the behavior of the salespeople. If they get measured on something, they're going to sell it. If they don't get measured, they're not going to sell it. So adjust your sales compensation system. You can still use what you have, but add at least the annual contract value to it, or the bonuses on breadth or depth. So the key matrices in summary. Oh, sorry. Cloud consumption. So that's the reach, the cloud consumption, account yield. ARR, number 3, annual recurring revenue. Number 4, cloud business growth, or number 5, new signed account contract value. So you have the metrics, decide on the objective, how much, how many, and what are the key results. So if you know this, if you discuss it with your sales management, with your management, how to approach it, and you can guide, and you are aligned on what you want to accomplish and how you're going to measure it. Then the tool to succeed, this was the compensation part on the revenue and the financial part. Now we look at the TCO concept. Because we have the tools available for you to calculate the TCO for solutions. Tools to succeed is for the TCO concept. It's a total cost of ownership. So it's a total cost of acquiring, using, operating, and disposing of an asset over time in the whole life cycle. It's not a concept that is exclusively used in IT. It's usually calculated as sum of 8 components. And it's variable considering a strategic in complex purchasing or sourcing processes. So you look at the total cost of ownership from the beginning to the end for the whole life cycle of a product or a solution. So it contains the purchase price, cost of supplier, cost incurred, so like it's transport, packaging, customer duties, payment terms, licenses, whatever. Acquisition cost, operation of a purchasing department, cost of ownership, inventory management, depreciation costs. So if you have a data center, you have a cloud solution, or you have licenses. I mean, if you have your own data center, you have depreciation costs. The cost of maintenance, spare part, maintenance, repairs, usage cost, operations, services, cost of poor quality, meeting deadlines, non-conformance processes, you're too late, you have to pay a penalty. And cost of disposal, at the end, you have to recycle or resell your data center solutions, or your end of contract, you have to renew. So these are all part of the total cost. And if you want to calculate the total cost with the customers, we have a tool available, and it's called Cloud Lab. Cloud Lab is a solution about the TCO calculation tool, a carbon footprint, and a security assessment. So it's very interesting because this gives a holistic view of what are the costs necessary to run an operations and to run a cloud solution. So how are we going to do it? In phase 1, we're going to do a data collection. Then in phase 2, we do the data checking, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. Number 3, analyze the Cloud Lab first results, and we modify relevant parameters if necessary, and we get an output document. So this is very interesting because this is a tool, because everybody wants to calculate their own TCO with all the components I just showed before. But this tool has a lot of data in it and a lot of tools in it. So this is phase 1, and phase 1 is a data collection. You look at all the data you have available. Phase 2, you're going to analyze it. You're going to look in the kind of dashboard, you're going to analyze the data and look at it. Get all kind of diagrams, you can analyze it, how it looks like, what the results are, where the costs are. And then number 3, you get a first comparison. So the really TCO calculation on OS, on components, on total cost. And number 4, you can modify the right category of VMs, for example. The right side of VM, depending on the on-premise infrastructure age, you snooze where possible, reserve instance where possible. So you can calculate the partner margin based on the migration or management tools and management costs, as well as on distributor, on discounts, on incentives, on desired margin. And at the end, you get a very nice self-produced pre-sale documentation where you can show the TCO to your customer based on what you want to accomplish, where you want to sell, how much margin, what you have available, and everything is in there. So we have this tool available, and we from Foreplay are very proud that we are able to provide and give you the possibility to use this tool. So if you want to try Cloud Lab to calculate the TCO for your customer in a customer case, it's very interesting. And I would recommend you to contact my colleague, Massimo. Massimo is my Italian colleague. He's one of the owners of the company. He speaks Italian and English, so no French, no Dutch. But you can approach him by using this email address. So you get the slides, so look at it. If you're interested in using Cloud Lab 2, he can explain you everything about it, all the details, give you demos, give you the pricing to use this tool. It's very interesting because it gives you a very broad overview on the total cost and have a discussion with your customer if they want to go into the comparison of the TCO of their cloud solutions. Because this is a never-ending discussion. But use this tool and you get a very nice insight and overview with presentations. So the tools to succeed include the marketing campaigns we discussed, the operational key performance indicators, and the TCO calculation tools. And of course, the description of your own managed services, the value you're going to give, the value proposition you put into the market. What we said in the beginning in webinar number 2, multi-cloud leads to higher value. So the cloud market is growing 6 times the overall IT spending. And multi-cloud has the highest security price ratio. So multi-cloud is maximizing the TCO. So it's a combination between your business model and the data center solutions. And we've seen that 84% is hybrid. So I would say focus on the hybrid cloud solutions. Look at your value proposition, where to play, how to win. I want to emphasize this again, because the survey shows that the profitability on a package IP solution, like I explained before, compared with just an hourly rate for a consultant on a package is much higher. High profitability, bigger login, more recurring business. So very interesting for you, but also from a customer perspective, it's very interesting because they get the services and not just an hour. And they want to have a solution for their challenges. And it's generally discussed like security, like backup, like continuity, like resourcing. So I would say, look at the whole program, run through it again yourself. And if you want to have support from us, let us know. I think it's a very interesting development in the market and there's a huge opportunity. So we discussed all that we promised, from the assess to the qualify to the execute, and how to succeed with the tools we are available. So I would say to you, there are a couple of call to actions. First, we would appreciate if you scan the QR code on this document and giving your feedback. I see it's still in Dutch, so I apologize for that. But it gives scan the QR code for a feedback form. To give short feedback on the 3 webinars, so that we can improve it even more, and that better suits your needs. But to make it very concrete for yourself, please identify a customer case to migrate or transform. So do you have a customer in mind? It can be an existing customer who is maybe in the core area of the business. You can use as a case to do this whole process with the solution, with the where to play, how to win, with the mindset, skill set, tool set approach, with the campaign around it, with the band methodology. And work together with your distributor and Microsoft for making a business case a business case for yourself, business case for your customer. So you get familiar with the tools, familiar with the approach, because at the end, let's create new opportunities together. That's, I think, what we all want to accomplish.
Okay, we have one question in the chats, Edwin.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna look at it now. Just, yeah, here, hold on.
So it's a question from Aubin.
Does Cloud Lab enable to manage multi-cloud?
No, it's a bit higher, the question.
Oh, sorry. Hold on, sorry. When starting a new product, at which level would you consider readiness as appropriate? When starting a new product, at which level would you consider readiness?
Maybe I can explain.
Yeah, we are in small groups, so just maybe you can repeat and explain to me.
Yeah,
maybe in English, it can also be in Dutch, whatever you prefer. Not in French, because I don't speak French.
It's okay. English is fine. No, it's easier to explain, not written. No, it's just to know how far we should go into the let's say preparation before starting really kickstarting a new product services in this context. So because you cannot. So you have to manage your budget to prepare the things before you start selling, so before you get some revenue. So it's a bit different than making things, let's say, smoothly evolving, you know. So how would you assess the let's say the right level of, let's say, upfront investment before closing the first sales and getting the first revenue, and then going further into the, let's say, readiness?
Yeah, so if I understand you right, you say how far should you be ready before you launch it? Is that actually the summary?
Yeah, that's a very good summary.
Yeah. Don't overanalyze. That's my experience. So if you are aligned on a major thing and you cannot know everything yet, so that's the reason why I say take a launching customer, look for the ideal customer, and start with the case. As soon as the first sales, make it a reference story, and then you can go back into the cycle and improve your whole readiness approach. Because if you figure out that, for example, your readiness is the KPI is we want to win 3 customers, and after 1 week you already have 10, then you have to adjust your KPI.
Yep.
If the customers say, hold on, I don't want to have a data solution, but I first want to have a backup solution, then you are maybe too far away already from what the customer is willing. So it's a iterative process. It's like a cycle. So make sure that the basics ready, start it, and if you sell it, improve it on the way. Because you can, I think in the past, a lot of companies developed their product until it was 105% ready. 2 things: it's not 100% ready. Second, you are too late because somebody else already did it, and they started to sell something that you want to develop, but not ready yet. So don't overanalyze. Take the basics, take all the matrices, just tick it, and say also where you have maybe question marks or highlights. Okay, guys, we don't know yet 100%, but we assume that, and then check it on the way.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
And the second question was, let's say, simpler. It's just about Cloud Lab. Does it enable to analyze multi-cloud scenario thanks to, let's say, a single or hybrid one?
So that you put everything in one tool?
Yeah.
In one calculation.
Let's say you would like to show the customer is as is situation, and then let's say, two scenarios. I don't know whether Cloud Lab works with scenarios. So two scenarios. One, let's say, single hybrid cloud using only Azure, for instance, and a second scenario where you would split some operations between two or three cloud providers.
I'm very honest. I don't know that amount of detail, so that's the reason why I put in the details of Massimo. He's 100% familiar with all the details. I assume you can put in different, because if you're calculating your existing environment, that's not always one size fits all. But just drop him a short email and ask a question, and he can contact you. That's all for free, of course. So I'm not going to say something that's not true.
Fine.
You're welcome. Okay.
Okay, thank you all for attending. If you have questions that pop up in your mind later today or in the coming days, please send us an email or me an email, and then we will come back to you with answers.
Thank you, everybody,
thank you
for
all
joining.
for attending.
It was a pleasure doing it, and talk to you soon, hopefully. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.
Have a good
Take
day.
care.
Bye.
Bye.